Welcome back. In the previous part, we had a little discussion about winters and summers in the UK, didn't we? Kind of related to what's going on. But here we are with Mr. Garrideb, was his name, and his maid, who's made some lovely tea. So let's speak to her first. Oh, speaking to both of them. Good day to you. John Garrideb at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryu. He's a defense lawyer. Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of... my one? Don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. Yeah, it's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Especially winter, mate. Oof. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Oh, delightful. Joan, fetch the... Bloody hell. Dash it, old woman, be careful. Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir. You jolly near took the skin off my hands. I shall be more careful, sir. Bloody hell's going on there? So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. So why doesn't she want us to look at the medal? Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right? Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Only too pleased, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. Oh yeah, he's definitely British. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, so as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even had some famous detective poking around, you know. This old Helt, would you believe? Yes, Mr. Herr Lock Shlomes. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business. Oh, but you have a copy of Rant's magazine here, so... Yeah? I don't know, Anyway, the chap investigating the foreigner's room as we speak. So he's in Soseki-san's room. It's a bawling nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's switching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss, it's jolly unsettling. It's that sort of thing like me being like, is he French? Is he Scottish? Oh, he's British, alright. About Mr. Natsume. About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrideb. Please do tell us. Ah, yes, the Japanese chap. I've only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So you moved in very recently then? I have 2 lodgers most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you'll see. Bloody hell. Dash it all, Joan, do be careful. Oh, my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. Why did you not want us to know about that? If you want to know my opinion, I don't. I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh. Why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. You won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes. Oh yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. He keeps interrupting him by pouring the tea, which will be scalding hot if the teapot is appropriate, you know. So it's like, of course, his reactions would be completely thrown off from what he was talking about. And speaking being thrown off from what you're talking about, what's his ring? Got a ring there, and it's got a... It's not just a ring, there's something on the ring, and I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, the Shady Lodger. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an all... Should. Okay. Could you elaborate? Yeah. Well, I'll take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. Haven't seen a single visitor call. Would you stop hitting your cheek? He just trots off to that old bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh! I had understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct? That's right, yes. They're both below us. On the first floor and street level. Why are you sweating? Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed. Good grief, Joan. Be more careful, woman. Oh my goodness, sir. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Something doesn't add up here. No British person would waste tea as such, unless they were trying to hide something. Suspicious. The incident 2 days ago... It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out the window at around that time? The window? Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement, just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrideb household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan? No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. Yeah. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Yep, considering the time of year, it would be very, 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 very dark at that hour. So, that is that thing of like what I was mentioning earlier, where it gets very, very dark. Very, very early in winter. It's like, it has come into play, slightly, at this point. It's like, yeah, that would be this dark. It sort of reminds me when we were talking about that kind of thing in, what was it, the second Ace Attorney game? I think. When I was talking like outside the window, it seemed like it was still daylight, and I just wanted to know if like that time of year it would still be daylight in Japan or LA, depending on where it wants to put it. You know how it is with the translation with that. But here, definitely the UK, it's like, yeah, at 5, at this time of year, it would be dark. Even, like, ignore the fog, it would be dark. Very dark. Like, we're talking like, what's the best way to put it? It's like, it gets to like 3 p.m. and it's like the sun is starting to set. It's like, it gets really dark in winter. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Such as? Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated? Well, yes? Was there something then? Well, there's nothing particularly significant, but at around that sort of time... Oh, bloody hell! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing. Oh, dearie me. What have I done? I am awfully sorry, sir. Do be more careful, woman. Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Naruholo. Oh, yes? I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Garrideb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of... God, bloody... John, dash it all. What's the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan? That's right, Mr. Garrideb. What is the matter with these two? Sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what? Something to do with whatever is behind that. Blind? Just got the bookcase? I'm not sure, there's something there. I wish I knew. Mr. Natsume's room. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Certainly, just below us on the first floor. See, this is something I have to point out as well, because like they've mentioned this before, but I ignored it because I would ignore it. It's like, yeah, the first floor, which is the second floor, because we have a ground floor, first floor, third floor, third floor? Second floor. So this is the second floor, which is to Americans and other countries and all that type of stuff. That's your third floor. First floor is your second floor. Ground floor is the ground floor, which is the first floor. Yeah, we have a ground floor. So, like, it's, again, like, I like seeing, like, when they take stuff into account. Like, I'm liking that this is essentially a British translation. Because we've had U's everywhere, and it's just, it's nice to see, because it's rare. But for me, it's like, it's natural to read and see, and it's like, I have to point it out, because it's like, I have to remember to point it out, because it's just in my head as being natural. It's like, yeah. And Mr. Shlomes is investigating there even as we speak. Yes. Told me Nat's name. Had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Shlomes' services. That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. I wonder if in Japan they have a ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor, etc. Because it's that kind of thing. These kind of details, where the Britishness of the situation may come into play in the trials. That's entirely possible. It's like the aspect, like say it was a foreigner. Like, we'll go for the easy options. Like, say it was an American who murdered or attempted to murder the person down on the street, and then tried to frame someone, and there was some confusion over the first floor and ground floor. And that could be part of the trial in future. So that could be significant. That could actually be something. Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. Like this, very much pointing out the one flight of stairs. I feel like that's going to be significant. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on. Shall we? Yes. And while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Shlomes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. It's just, it highlighted it slightly there, and I'm just feeling like maybe there's actually something more going on there. Let's move on to Mr. Natsume's room then. The kitty! 19th of February. Mr. Natsume's room. What? Just look at this place. See, there's the boarded up windows, the bricked up windows. And smell it, it's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. Apparently, like someone was saying down in the comments, that the Natsume fellow is actually based on a real person from Japan who came to the UK, to London, and didn't like it here. It's like, Well, of course you didn't. You went to bloody London. Horrible. Especially during, like, if it was like he went there at this time of history, absolutely horrendous. Like, seriously, it's like smog. Like, that's not fog. When they were saying fog, it's smog. Because it's like proper industrial city. It's like, mate, please tell me you actually went outside of London, to the countryside. Because it's like, outside of London, the country is great. Best way of putting it. Like, the country is like beautiful. I'd describe it like the gentle sloping hills, the trees, the countryside. It's like the Shire, is what Sarah says. Like, she's described the area I live in as looking like the Shire. And it's like, I can see what she means. It's more like Rohan, if I was going to do anything, but I can see what she means. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. Never been to a library. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yes. Once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. And why? So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Shlomes anywhere. Have you? Probably hiding under the books. No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garrideb told us, Great Detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Where? Very much like, where? I sense him. There's no music in here? Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that mannequin neko all the way from Japan with. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. You forgetting that enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, it could be dangerous travelling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. So what is this? Like, someone let me know, because like, clearly I know the British stuff in this, but, like, the Japanese stuff, it's like, no idea. What's this Daruma doll? What's a Daruma doll? Someone let me know, I'm interested. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? No, I got that aspect of it. You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why am my eyes such a giveaway? Okay. The lack of music is very disturbing. Meow. You probably hear the room echo at this rate. Alright then. Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. Disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. Was a tricolour Mike or Mike, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. That's made me feel homesick now. Already? I've only been in the country for 2 days. That desk seems to be wedged into a crevasse between the mountains of books on either side. Suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. Surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes. Surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your Books. Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it, look. And the date of purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in that terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Second-hand book receipt has been entered into the court record. Books. Look at those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No, what a dreamy idea. Bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. This is why you need bookcases. So reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime. Just as the tea ceremony teaches us. Certainly didn't expect that conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. Could you ever call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although all that remains is a frame around some bricks now. Really, it's just a wall then, isn't it? Why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. The only thing I can think of is to stop the building from collapsing. Like, maybe it was a structural weakness. I see, like, sort of cracks around it and stuff like that. Maybe... I'm afraid I have no idea. Yeah. Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on in a fit of whimsy. That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive. It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely tiring and trying. It would definitely be tiring. Just books again. Oh, hello. There. Look at these balls of paper on the floor. There are notes scrawled all over them in English. Looks like the waste paper basket is so full. Just fallen out. I think Mr. Natsume must have been deeply immersed in his research, don't you? Or deeply averse to tidying up his mess. I wouldn't like to speculate which is closer to the truth. Okay. Again, just so quick. There he is. Because we've investigated everything. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Shlomes? Ah, you two, good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Shlomes, we were together on the SS Burya. Yes, of course, the Burya. And let me see, what happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Asogi. He died, tragically. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor. To be remembered vaguely by the great Herr Lock. Vaguely. Just vaguely. Like I was saying, the you in honor there. This is Mr. Oh no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Your brain attic. Miss Naruhodo. And Mr. Suzuto. Try the other way around, Mr. Shlomes. I lose the first round. Yes. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. Some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short of amount of time. I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to an extent. Oh my. I do my best to forget useless facts, unless they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom. You know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Shlomes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. Alright then. At Natsume... where'd I get at? I have no idea. Mr. Natsume's arrest. At? Where's at? We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. Seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Schlomes. For the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. Mr. Natsume denies it. Is it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? Can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye, while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It appeared as if the pair of you were under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request to me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. A man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. On the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? Yep, makes sense to me. I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophilia. Bibliophilia? Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Mr. Garrideb, the landlord. Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garrideb, a retired military man. It was the first time I ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. It was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. Ah! I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Oh my. Betoken their social standing. Sorry? But simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. It is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garrideb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. No, it's not that he's hiding it. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. The dingy room. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Schlomes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax. But what is that? Surely not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Was that a thing? I don't remember hearing about that. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. I need to look this up. But its legacy remains, as you can see. In squalid lodgings such as these, for example. That would explain, if that's true. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, it's true. Because I was thinking, is that I've seen many buildings that seem to have like a window, but it had gone, and it was just sort of like just plaster or something like that, or bricks, and then it had been plastered over and all that type of stuff. And it was like, I'd always thought it was like I was saying previously, like it was like, oh, for structural reasons or something like that, or like, but no, it goes way back. Huh, the things you learn about your own country from the great, what's it called? Ace Attorney? I was going to say the Great Ace Adventure. It's like, that's not it. That's not the name of the game, everyone. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, so have I. And discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. No, I think it's worthy. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Yeah, that's the thing. You've made me curious. And I would like to know the details. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Shlomes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? Well, yeah. You remember that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? Not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly too. Thing is, it made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Shlomes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. And one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Shlomes? Tell us. I cannot say about any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Again, I don't think he's hiding something. I think he will tell us. It's just someone else is making him hide it. Mr. Garrideb is... Mr. Shlomes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo. As yet, our investigations have yet uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret. Just remember, cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. Busy man indeed. Gone back into his book in the corner of the room. Has he now? Excuse me, Mr. Shlomes. Yes, so true. To be or not to be? That is indeed the question, Mr. Naruhodo. To be or not to be brushed off, that is the question. And the answer is all too clear. Let's leave Mr. Shlomes in peace, shall we? Yes, we shall. And we shall also end this part here. In the next part, we'll go back to Mr. Garrideb's room. So see you then. Ta-ra for now.